So, I hear you closed the deal.
What's that in commission, about 80K?
84.
84,000, that should just about cover your debt.
No, don't do that to me. Jim, that's my year, that's my nut, man.
It is not yours.
Jim, I need this money.
A very believable drama with a wonderful life story message attached. Wait a minute, how the hell did this one come out of Hollywood in June? Hello to everyone, and thank you for tuning in once again to ReelScreenReviews.com. I am, of course, film critic Nick Iacobucci, and our next movie review is People Like Us. This film will open in wide release on Friday, June 29th, 2012, and this is once again an early review. People Like Us features Chris Pine, Olivia Wilde, Michele Pfeiffer, Jon Favreau, and the beautiful Elizabeth Banks. This film comes to us from first-time director Alex Kurtzman, one half of a brilliant writing duo that has reinvented everything from Star Trek to James Bond to TV's Hawaii Five-0, but this time he sees if he can bring solid drama to an original story. This tale tells of a businessman named Sam that discovers a shocking secret while attending the funeral of his deceased and estranged father. Chris Pine's Sam must come to the realization that he has a sister that he has never met, and to make matters worse, he must deliver $150,000 in cash to this stranger of a sibling. Then, without letting her know who he is, Sam works his way into her life and into the life of her son, and before too long, Sam begins to question his life's direction, his choices, and his relationships. Sam will transform as the movie plays out, and this 20-something will learn more about heartfelt emotion than he ever would have imagined possible. Well, people, just like Disney's Brave that abandoned the commonly used romantic interaction and instead gave us a mother-daughter story, People Like Us also drops it in favor of a brother-sister drama. Throughout this tale of realism, there is always enough substance to keep this movie interesting as well as entertaining. It's also more than shows the effects of growing up without a father, and that actually extends into multiple generations. This film plays to its strengths most of the time, and does so even if those strengths are not always pleasant or happy. People Like Us also is one of those films that as it plays out, you almost feel like you're part of this family and part of the problems and issues being dealt with. Now, Chris Pine shows a good amount of range in this performance, and it is nice to see him leave the comfort zone of both Star Trek and This Means War. He still seems to encompass this likable, if not cocky behavior, but battles with legal trouble and financial turmoil are always more than evident, even if it's hidden under the surface. Now, Elizabeth Banks also gets to shine in what I would call her best performance in years, if not ever, and delivers the film's best performance as well. Her constant struggle to stay sober and the surprising fact that she actually does was a nice switch from the usually over-the-top falter of most cinematic alcoholics. She extracts sympathy from the audience almost immediately, and never does she let it go. This is also Michele Pfeiffer's best turn on the big screen in at least a decade, and she is strong as well as sympathetic every time that she needs to be. Now, director Alex Kurtzman's first time in the director's chair is definitely a solid one. Being the longtime writer that he is, he more than knows how to evoke emotion that does translate to the film's story. However, I think that his handling of this premise would have been much more effective if he would have just slowed it down a little bit and stopped cutting. Sometimes it felt to me like I was watching a Michael Bay film, and I couldn't help but compare this to last year's Soul Surfer. Now, just like that film, it wants to tell this solid dramatic tale, but it also wants to surround it in a package gift wrapped like it's a Transformers adventure. I truly felt that the audience needed longer and more sustained moments from the actors, the camera, and especially the drama. Kurtzman does, however, collaborate very well with director of photography Salvatore Totino, and the way that they display all aspects of the city of Los Angeles is well above average. However, the film editor Robert Lighton needed to slam on the brakes more than a few times throughout this feature. Now, People Like Us does not only approach melodrama, it actually crosses into it more than once. Now, I know that we would not have a movie otherwise, but someone with a moment's courage willing to just bite the bullet would have saved all involved quite a duration of time. This takes me back to the lead that, as this film plays on, seems to be waiting for nothing more than to just create more tension by not coming clean. The longer he waits, the tougher it gets, and the tougher it gets, the longer the movie. Now, I do commend that the screenwriters took the time to solidify these characters with mannerisms and specifics that seem to make them truly real, but in a few spots they were just played out as simple and predictable. The kid was also a pretty much by-the-numbers character and fit the standard child in need of direction. At 1 hour and 55 minutes, People Like Us was a solid dramatic tale, even though it did have technical missteps here and there. This is the definition of when you cast the film correctly, you have most likely accomplished 90% of your work, even if the project and story taken on a whole should have been shorter and tighter. This is a feel-good movie that should do just that for most of the people that view it, and for those that just want to lose themselves and enjoy a nice afternoon, you won't have many complaints either. The best part of this movie is that almost every time that it could have been standard and basic, it chose to go into a different direction and be unconventional. Finally, in a summer filled with raunchy teddy bears, flying web slingers, and a dark night, this slice of family and reality should more than find a home amongst wide audiences. Nick's Real Screen Review is a more than recommended 3 stars out of 4, and that's for the summer movie drama People Like Us. And remember, people, I'm not always right, but only when it comes to the movies. And thank you for your attention.
Maybe we could both start trying to be
Be people.